What's going on? I'm David Alsu from Wisdom Square, and today we're going to be talking about diabetes and what to do after you get diagnosed with it. Now, I have a friend who recently reached out to me because they discovered they had a blood sugar level of over 700. Now, normally, you could go into a coma with something that high or even wind up dead. This person was still fully functioning. They just noticed they were dehydrated from having a dry mouth and constantly having to go to the bathroom to urinate, and ultimately having a sense of being dizzy. Still, he was able to drive himself over to the hospital and get checked out. Of course, at that point, they decided to keep him for the next 4 days until his blood sugar went back down to low 200s, and then they released him. Now, after something like that, the big question is, what do you do? Obviously, you have to look at what the root cause is, which is going to be something from your diet that you were eating. For him, it was soda. All different flavors of soda. And of course, we all know that bad, and this is ultimately where it end up taking you. There's nothing you can take that's ultimately going to help your situation without addressing the root cause, which is removing the food and drinks that is causing the problem. So of course, diet set aside, I'm going to make a separate video in the future of what I recommend in this situation. But now, just looking at how herbs can help, the one thing we need to think about is diabetes is a problem of having too much sugar in the blood. And there's only one thing that you really need to know for that, and it's going to be iron. Iron is what cleans the blood and builds it back up. And that's because iron is a magnet for oxygen. So whenever you're eating foods that are high in natural iron, which is very different from just taking an iron supplement from the store, because that's iron oxide, which is different than iron fluorine, which is what a plant is able to convert hard iron oxide into liquid iron fluorine. So the herbs we're going to be looking at, and so it's mostly the root of a plant that's highest in iron. For example, you have burdock root, yellow dock root, sarsaparilla root, and so on. The herbs that are the highest in iron come down to two that I've discovered: sarsaparilla root and guaco. Now, with guaco, you could take that as a tea because it actually tastes really good. And I'm gonna link below to a store that I found online that actually gets it shipped directly from Jamaica. This has been the freshest I've been able to get access to guaco. And something like this, I would recommend drinking, around 3 times a day if you have something like this wrong with you. Or you could just take a 32-ounce bottle, fill it up in the morning, and try to drink that throughout the day, which would equal 4 8-ounce cups. As for sarsaparilla root, this you're better off getting as a tincture. And that's primarily because guaco, I can only find that as a alcohol tincture. With sarsaparilla root, you can find that as a vegetable glycerin tincture, which is going to be much more pleasant since it's not going to burn your mouth as you're taking it. And with the tincture, you're just dropping it under your tongue, and it gets absorbed right into your bloodstream, which is the fastest and most effective way to take a medicine, aside from getting it directly shot with a needle into your veins, which there's no need to here in this case. With sarsaparilla root tincture, I would say take as much as you can, and typically that's going to be around 3 drops throughout the day, which means filling up the whole eyedropper and putting that whole thing under your tongue. There's also valerian root, which I would recommend taking once right before you go to bed, since that's gonna help you go to sleep, and it's also really high in iron too. And I would also recommend bladderwrats at night, because it is a really powerful seaweed, so it's gonna collect anything that's in excess and then help you get it out of your body. The one other herb that I want to make a special note of is called lily of the valley. Now, this herb is different than the others because you don't want to take this every day. This is only going to be for a short period of time to help you detoxify your body and blood. It's high in iron, but it's special because it helps you urinate. Now, with those herbs out of the way, something that I would recommend going forward for anyone that has a problem with sugar, which all of the previous herbs I mentioned, anyone could take with or without having diabetes, or, you know, just for general health, really, it's perfectly fine. And this is called miracle berries. Now, miracle berries originate from Africa, and it's one of the greatest secrets ever, along with all these other herbs that I'm mentioning. And that's because when you eat this, you only need 1 or 2 berries, and the miracle berries work by coating your tongue so that you could literally bite into a whole lemon and it's gonna end up tasting like pure sugar. So now this is a great trick to avoid having to add in any sugar into your drinks, especially if you're already used to soda. And of course, you know, soda being so high in artificial sugar, that's numbing your tongue to tasting other things. You know, that's why a lot of people that go and drink water after it, it's so hard for them because there's no flavor in it. But what was interesting with my friend, he was actually able to drink water before he went into the hospital, and was doing that for a little bit. But one thing he noticed was he was drinking a lot more water than he would drink if he was only drinking soda. And one reason for that is because soda is so loaded with so many different things that the body instantly recognizes that when you drink just pure filtered water, that it's empty. And your body is going to want to drink more of it in hopes of getting something from that water. But because of the filtration process, all the minerals that used to be in the water are stripped away. That's why it's important to either get a high quality bottled water. The one I drink is called Warkia and comes from Hawaii. But you can find this at any different retail stores nowadays by going on the website and checking your location, or just ordering from their website. But even better is if you actually put lemon or lime. My preference is key limes because they're less hybridized than the larger Persian limes and the Meyer lemons that are most common in America. And you're going to notice that now all of a sudden you don't have to drink as much water in order to feel like your body is getting hydrated. Even better is if you just made an herbal tea alongside with the key limes, which in this case, what I would recommend is being best with guaco. So now I hope I demystified it a little bit. What herbs are going to be good for someone that's struggling with sugar or high blood pressure? Anything wrong with the blood, you need iron. Herbs that are highest in iron are typically the root of a plant. Here they are again, all of the herbs that are high in iron. The 2 highest ones are sarsaparilla root and guaco. And lily of the valley is great for emergencies like this one here. It's really not that complicated, and I hope I make you feel more comfortable. These herbs are completely safe. Up until now, we've probably never heard of them, but they should absolutely be a part of everyone's vocabulary since they're so powerful and healing, something that we need. If you didn't like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. But if you found this information to be useful, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel since I plan on uploading 2 to 3 days a week, including the video that I'm gonna make with recommendations on this person's diet going forward. And now I wanna know your thoughts. Leave any comments down below. I'll be sure to read all of them and do my best to reply to you. Until next time.